Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a really fun neon geode tumbler. In my Elite Fam Patreon group, we did a cup swap not too long ago, and this is the cup that I made for my swap sister. She had a lot of things on her wish list. One of them was pink. She loves really colorful, super sparkly stuff, and in my opinion, one really great way to get a lot of fun colors and sparkles is to make a geode cup. So we're going to do a geode today on this powder coated tumbler. This tumbler I actually got at Nordstrom Rack on clearance, and it's a white powder coated tumbler. So I'm going to sand down the surface of the cup really well to scuff it up a little bit, and then I'm going to spray it down with rubbing alcohol to clean all of the sanding residue off. And now we can go right into designing. Now my camera cut out when I taped this off and started creating the geode pattern, but basically what I did was take two little sections of painter's tape and kind of map out where I want the geode shapes to be. So typically I like to do one geode section on the top of the cup and then a second geode section on the opposite side of the cup on the bottom. You can set these up however you'd like. I'll link some geode tutorials that I've done in the past if you want more detail or information on how to do this particular step. But then once I had the tape down, I took a Sharpie or paint pen and kind of roughly sketched out the shape that I wanted the geode to be. And now I'm taking my craft knife and I'm cutting along those lines. And once I'm done cutting, I'm going to remove the outer piece of the tape. So I want to leave that masked off geode section on the cup, as you can see there, because we're going to work on the non-geoded part of the cup first. So I want to just mask off where the geode's going to be. That part won't be glittered until we're done glittering the rest of the tumbler. So like I said, we're going to get started with this non-geode part of the cup, and I'm going to use Barbie, which is my custom mix that I made with Peachy olive glitters. We're going to base paint our tumbler using Moonlight Rose. This is the Delta Creative Ceram Coat acrylic paint, and I mixed in a little bit of the Adhesive Apothecary thick glitter glue. So I'm doing a paint and glue mixture here. We only need one coat of paint, especially because the tumbler's already white. It's going to give us a really nice bright base for that paint to stick to and make sure everything is really nice and solidly base coated. Once I've got that painted all over my tumbler, I'm going to take Barbie again and cover everything that we just painted pink. Once I've got my cup glittered, I'm going to go right in right away and remove those two masked off geode sections that have the tape on them. I'm just going to take all of that tape away, and then I'm going to let my cup sit and dry for about an hour-ish, and then I'll move into the actual geode portion of the design. To paint my geode on, I'm going to use the same thick glitter glue from Adhesive Apothecary. Because it dries so quickly, we can really get through doing all of these different glittered sections quickly. If you use something like the glitter glue from the Crystal Company, it's going to take a lot more time to dry, and you will have a little bit more of a risk of your glitters contaminating because the adhesive underneath them will still be wet as you go through all of your colors. So I would recommend using a glue that is quick drying. So you can use this glitter glue, you can use Mod Podge, any other adhesive you like, as long as it's more of a quicker drying one versus something like the glitter glue from Crystal that takes a longer time to dry. So starting with my first color, I'm going to do a blue section here. So the glitter I'm using is Bejeweled from Peachy Olive Glitters, and you can see that I just tinted my glue and created a shape that's similar to the one obviously that we traced out and mapped out first. We really want to follow that shape to make everything look really nice and natural. So I'm using little pouncing motions with my small paintbrush to create those sections and really get a nice concentration of paint here. I'll zoom you in so you can kind of see what I mean. You really want to cover your area really well with paint and make sure that your lines are kind of like rough and rugged. The whole fun part of a geode is that you don't have to have perfectly straight lines. You don't have to have anything be uniform. If your lines are thicker on one side and thinner on the other side, that's okay. These are supposed to be more of a natural looking design. So don't worry about precision here. Don't worry about perfection. Just have fun creating your shapes and putting all of these fun colors together. Now you'll notice when I did my first color, I left a little bit of a gap between the pink and the blue, and that's because I didn't know exactly what glitter color I wanted to put in between those two colors. So I just created an extra space so that I could decide later what color I wanted to do. If you want to, you can go right up against those edges. You don't have to leave a gap and do it later. Although I would recommend, if you are going to use a white glitter at any point in your geode, to leave those spaces for last. So let's say I wanted to do white in between my pink and my blue. I would leave that space open, glitter the rest of my geode, and then go back in and fill in that white spot, because you definitely don't want to contaminate your white color with any other color of glitter. So as you can see here, I'm just moving through the colors, basically just picking whatever color I think will look best next to the color I just put down. That's another one of my favorite things about doing geodes, is that you really cannot mess up the color palette. If you want to do a bunch of colors that you think probably don't go together, somehow if you put them on a geode, it always seems to work out. Of course, if you want to, you can really go through and super coordinate your colors and make everything like follow one palette, but you can also just do a bunch of random colors that don't seem to go together. So again, just have fun with this process. Geodes are some of my favorite cups to do because they're just always different. You will never make the same geode twice, and they're just really fun to do. Of course, you guys know I love using as many glitters as possible on my tumblers. For the last section of our geode, I decided to use this shatter glitter. This is from Olive's Glitter Outlet. The name of it is Aiden, and it's a really pretty, like super shifty purple, and it is a shatter. It's not like a chunky glitter. You can see it's kind of like a cellophane looking glitter almost, and I thought it would be the perfect thing to put in the middle of the geode, which is our like biggest section. So I'm gonna just paint it and glitter it the exact same way. I did tap it down a little bit so that it would lay flat. Sometimes when you use these shatter types of glitters, they're super hard to work with, but once you tap it down, it'll stick to the glue and it'll look really, really pretty under epoxy. Now that I've got all of my glitter on my tumbler, I'm gonna let everything sit and dry for about an hour, and then I'm gonna seal all of my glitter with 3 coats of the clear gloss spray from Rust-Oleum. Once those are dry, I'm gonna add 3 coats of epoxy to my tumbler. I'm using the Flynn Sisters Supply Shop Fast Cure Epoxy. Each coat is about 25 milliliters, and I'm waiting about 5 hours in between each coat. Once I had all 3 of those coats of epoxy on the cup, I went through and sanded everything down to make sure it was smooth so that I can add all of my outlines to each little geode section. When I do the outlines on my geode tumblers, I always like to do a really thick, bold black line on the first like outer section of the geode in between the non-geode section and the start of the geode. I feel like it always just gives this really nice like bold separation between the geode and the body of the tumbler. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm using a really thick Posca paint pen, and I'm just going to do a thick line to differentiate the geode from the rest of the cup. Of course, you don't have to do that. You can, again, do literally anything you want with your geode cup. You can outline everything in the same color. You can do all different colors. You can do super thin lines, thick lines, literally no rules to geode cups. I know I say that in every geode video I make, but it's true. Really just like do whatever you feel like. There's no wrong way to do it. When I do mine, I typically like to use varying weights of lines. So I'll do some super thick lines, I'll do thinner lines, and I really like to do contrasting colors in between each of my geode colors. So you can see here, I've got that neon yellow and the blue glitter, and I'm using a pink paint pen in between those two. I just really like the contrast, and I like to use as many different colors as possible. So I'm just going to work my way through my geode, outlining each section using different colors, and then we will move on to the next step. Alright, so once all of my geode sections are outlined with my paint pens, I'm going to sign the bottom with a thin black paint pen, and then I'm going to let everything sit and dry overnight. I always like to make sure that the paint pens are completely dry before I add epoxy to them. Before I add my final coats of epoxy, I am going to add this little UV DTF decal. This is from a pack from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to throw it on the bottom of the tumbler. Of course, you can do no decal, you can do a name, you can do whatever you want to. I thought this little decal that says "Make It Happen" would kind of tie in that big black line that I added on there and just really finish the whole thing off in a really nice, simple way. Once I had that on, I added my final 2 coats of epoxy. For my final coats, I always use the Flynn Sister Supply Shop Artist Cure epoxy for maximum UV protection. And once those are all cured, we are all done. So here is the final tumbler design. I had so much fun making this cup. I love making geodes, and I hope that this helps you in making your own geode designs. A lot of you comment all the time on my videos saying you're too scared to try this technique, but please give it a try, see what happens. They're really fun, even though they are a little intimidating. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you are not already. And of course, you know I love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. All right, thanks so much for watching as always, and I'll see you in my next video. Love you. Bye. Hello friends, thanks so much for watching this video. I want to say a huge special thank you to my elite fam, my channel members, and my subscribers. You all make this channel possible, so thank you so much for being part of the fam. If you want more exclusive content from me, you can join my elite fam at patreon.com/elitefam. You can find my tumblers and digital files on my website madebymalstudio.com. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, you can find me on Instagram at madebymal_studio. Here's another video for you to check out, and I'll see you soon. Thanks so much for watching. Love you. Bye.